Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the Duelist Event Network. My name's LBU. I'm joined here by the wonderful, fabulous, amazing Enda the Lion, and we are doing a very, very interesting event. Enda.
I'm kind of curious as to how this one do. I mean, there's a huge variety of setups we have, you know, at our disposal here. We have single Vikes or we have two Vikes. Of course, we will be frowning upon people who are only going to use one of them. But, I can't wait to see the variety that Elden Ring is famed for, LBU, as
That's
we are
true.
moving into this tournament. It's going to be absolutely incredible to see what our players are able to put on for us today.
Yeah, and you mentioned variety. There's actually very few rules, but the rules that do exist definitely do limit a little bit of variety, right? And we can kind
Yeah.
of take a peek at that whole list and take a look at what everything's going to look like and what our contestants are forced to follow along with. It should be a lot of fun though. Obviously, we're going to be at rune level 125, all the basic stuff there. But I'm very very excited as we take a quick little peek here. So Great Rune is going to be active in this one, folks. We are going to be in seamless co-op.
Yes.
We're going to be doing best of threes, best of fives, pretty standard. No reswapping, no glitches allowed. There is no healing, excluding just a few items. Those few things are going to be stuff like the Crimson Bubble tier. That's going to give you that second hit, the Blessed Dew Talisman, the Godskin Swaddling Cloth, and of course the Royal Remains Armor. Those things are going to be okay. However, no other healing is allowed. Winged Crystal tier is the only tier that is restricted. And then, of course, the basic stuff, adhere to terms of service, don't cheat. And the best part, you must equip and use dual Vikes. And
Yeah.
you may not use any incantations or spells, as you cannot cast either of those while using dual Vikes. And two-handing a single Vike, as you mentioned, Enda, though frowned upon, is going to be permitted so long as you have a second Vike on
Yes.
your back. And as much as we, ask our contestants to stay focused on stuff, they are only allowed a maximum of 300, and that includes all tiers and consumables that can affect that focus as well. So armor tiers, consumables, talismans, everything, they can not reach anything greater of 300 even. So
300. Yes.
that's it. That's the rules. There's not a lot actually to go over, but it's relatively simple. And again, this should be a good lot of fun.
I am very excited to see people being CC'd repeatedly over the course of this tournament. With the with status been reduced in power stance, we have advised people, we have to be about keep 6 hours. This might take a while,
Right. Yeah,
for people to
exactly.
get caught.
Exactly.
That's just one of the things we have managed to be caught by in the past. But it's going to be curious to see how Vikes was, terrifying.
Going to look like, what type of fashion we're going to see. I'm excited for the Halloween contest. We do have Daniel and Siri in the world,
Oof.
and they're wearing the same helmet. I'm guessing that this is going to be Siri in the corner by the stairs. So we do have that Raptor's chest that is going to increase a lot of damage. A pretty light setup for armor. I'm curious if we are going to see a light roll adaptation versus Daniel. Rocking, he's finding a way. He's probably sitting at about 299 focus right now with that prelate chest. You're gonna see a lot of folks utilizing this helmet as well to hit those endurance caps, so they can use 3 talismans, light roll, things like that. So it looks like both of our contestants are in the world, are reset and ready to go. Enda.
I'm pretty spooked, LB, but you know what? I think we're going to be able to get through this one. And ladies and gentlemen, on a 3, on a 2, on a 1, allez.
And here we are underway. We do see the flask from each of our opponents here. And actually the boiled prawn going to be given out from Siri as well here, as they're going to be wave dashing back and forth, trying to find a way into this. The jump signal connects. 662, the L1 from neutral, goes for the poke, try to get some phantom range. The jump is going to actually not connect. The crouch shot one's going to miss, but ooh, the rolls away. I believe that is light roll that we are seeing there. 2 rolls away again, away from Daniel there. The jump goes in, the crouch tries to hit, but able to get away entirely, as now we see the wave dashing in the corner. Siri put on the back foot, the jump against the roll. We are going to find an L1 to connect. 386, the phantom procs there as well, and trying to find the pressure forward, able to just roll away freely. The jump L1, that's a lot of madness build up though, Enda. They do only have 13 focus. There's going to be the crouch L1 to cancel, goes for the roll catch. That's going to be a madness proc right there, and the jump's going to land. 794 damage. Daniel, 236 versus 2667 on the side of Siri, and just rolling away entirely, able to get away from those crouch attacks without a problem. The jump R1 is going to miss. The crouch attack to punish isn't going to be there. Goes for the crouch herself, able to get away though. The jump R1 delays it, goes for the L1 there. The jump R1 phantom proc landing there as well. You got to be careful here. The running attack's going to come in. He's going to be the crouch R1 trying to finish him off, and Daniel just a little bit too slippy. The jump attack's not quite going to land, going for the roll catch with Siri, able to get away, and now back up in the corner there. As again, we do see Daniel trying to find it, but there's the crouch R1 from Siri, and a flawless victory in the first round.
Was that a flawless?
That
was a flawless, right?
That was a flawless.
I'm terrified. Remind me never to fight Siri again. How does that sound? Because oh my god, that was Very impressive to be able to keep that amount of aggression, not be able to hit the damage. Absolutely incredible stuff. Siri is, we've seen her in 3. She's been playing a long time, but Elden Ring has been very kind to her in terms of the tools that it's given her, and I'm absolutely over the moon to see her do as well as she's been doing in these tournaments.
And we talk about the ability to play status really well here. And I'm going to point out really quick there. She gets the proc, she lands the jump attack, and while Daniel is recovering, she walks away and takes the bolus.
Yep.
So his madness is reset. She makes sure hers is as well. Also worth noting with this light roll, it's very hard to land those phantom procs. I mean, you can see that distance that she's going with that roll. So, it's very interesting that we're looking at it this way, right? We see the standard Vikes build 18 Faith, 50 to 55 Dex, maybe 58 with Millicent in there if you can really min-max it out. And Siri's opted to do a slightly different build here, and still able to keep focus high, still able to keep damage high with that Raptor's chest, and still able to get away and control the mind games with the madness.
Yes.
The madness mind games are going to be absolutely massive here as well.
One might say that the madness mind games are going to be a little bit insane, LB, perhaps, maybe, just a little bit.
You can say that they're going to go mad a little bit with them, yeah.
And to be honest with you here, looking at Siri, there's been a couple of exchanges here where she's conditioned her opponent to try and roll out afterwards, and then uses that expectation that the player has then to set up and do a complete amount of pressure after the fact then to get those roll catches, which of course in lat is going to be very difficult, but I digress as we're just waiting for our contestants to get in and ready, LB. But all in all, I think that was truly unbelievable as a first match, a flawless LB, almost unheard of in these games considering how trade heavy it can be, how Poison encourages you to stay out, and Siri just said, nah, I'm just going to space this one out. This is fine, all the way across, and just keep pressure and dominate the fight. Yeah, remind me to be careful next time I play Siri. How does that sound? Oh my word.
Yeah, and that is something I had the pleasure of doing quite a few different sessions with Siri as she was kind of rewarming up for this. And I will say, I mean, I fought a couple different people along these lines of, hey, let's test some stuff out. They wanted some help with things. Maybe you can help me with my build, things like that, right? And the pressure that Siri is able to apply with the status is very, very strong. And she's very, very hard to get away from that madness proc and to, try to secure it yourself on her. She's very good at the madness game in terms of the status. Okay, when are you going to proc? She knows when you're going to proc. You could be outside of the 300 focus rule. She knows when you're going to proc. She's aware of it. She's able to pat that out. She knows when you're going to bolus. So it's that experience of playing, where those statuses mean a lot to you. And that's going to be, if you're playing with a little bit of latency for a large amount of your fights, you're going to learn when those statuses are going to be applied, because that's a lot of ways that a lot of these players that have higher latency are going to secure damage on folks, whether it be Scarlet Rot, things like that. So you have a really good idea of where things are going to be at when you're looking at that stuff.
So kind of all of these things we've had so far, how are we feeling about the fashion contest, LB? Because again, we do have the spot prize, of course, for $50. Do you think it's Siri? I think it's Siri. I think it's
here. This is looking like nice min-maxed Vikes fashion on both sides, to be honest. Siri's looking at min-maxing the light roll as much as possible. Daniel's looking at min-maxing the medium roll. And we haven't seen anything in our first set so far, haven't seen anything that truly takes me away. I got to say, I'm really excited to see what Frosty's going to come out with. And I'm really excited to see what Bevan's going to come out with. I think
this should be a pretty interesting one, as we do have Siri in and ready to go.
Yes, in South America, that's going to be Siri in the corner on the right with a 1-0 lead over Daniel on the left. Enda.
Ladies and gentlemen, on a 3, on a 2, on a 1, let the bolt fly. We almost had some friendly fire there. However, it seems both contestants, you may want to fire it again there, mate. Oh. Give it a second.
And there it goes.
Yeah,
okay, now he's setting up. You get that from time to time on these big jobs. But we are going to see the Flask immediately traded out. And we're going to see Siri go for this prawn again. And Daniel not trying to punish it or even take a counter buff himself. He's just going to kind of hang out. Daniel trying to play a more aggressive game here. But there's that jump attack. That's going to connect. 662. The Vortex comes in. The jump comes off from Daniel. Siri able to get away from it. Now the L1. You're seeing 3 Phantom procs and an actual just regular hit. And there it is. There's the madness right there. The jump's going to hit. That's 794. He's very, very low here. And again, Siri looking really good. 2600 health. The jump attack lands. 31, 15 health left, and she just needs to hit him a single time. The R1 comes in. He's going to go for a neutral jump there and just unable to get around it. Oh, the Fan Dagger's coming out now here.
There we go.
And there it is. 2 damage comes through, and yet again, Siri just comes through very clean here. Again, you look at that status pressure. She's able to get 3 attacks and not get Phantom hit a single time. There is a way to fight status on latency, and Siri's figured that out, as we can see here. I mean, her Madness bar is completely empty right now, and she did not even get Phantom hit in that exchange.
Again, so just to keep this in mind, ladies and gentlemen, getting a flawless in this game once is difficult enough. But to do it twice in a row, what on earth? Are we all gonna have to go to the Siri dojo on how to learn how to use dual PSGS? Is that what we're gonna have to do here?
Perhaps,
because that was absolutely like let's watch this through again.
Unfortunately, the whole match fits in our instant replay.
That's kind of handy.
Yeah, it's kind of we should do this for the rest of the tournament, guys. Just have your fight suspended. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I'm really curious as to why Daniel doesn't even really attempt to actually pressure that Boiled Prawn, right? He sees it in the first round. She gets the flask, gets the prawn. Siri's rocking very low absorption armor, as you can see here. That Boiled Prawn means a lot to that build. And he just kind of sits back and lets it happen. He doesn't even take a prawn for himself. He doesn't take anything else. He just takes his fight stick and waits out. We see a really good neutral jump there from Daniel, trying to keep the pressure forward, but he just tries to space that jump attack. And even on low latency, that jump attack, it's so scary. Good anti-air from the crouch, goes for the vortex. Unfortunate jump from Daniel, misses. The roll comes in late there, and there's again another phantom hit. So he's one hit from Madness here. Siri knows that she can just go in and be very aggressive, because even if he rolls it, he gets procced. And you see the one clips him, and then the jump comes in, nearly jumps over him here actually, but did manage to free aim it back to land it. And from this point on, again, you're looking at 2,600 health to 300. We talked about this the other day, and there's not much you can do in this situation.
You're kind of in a bad spot, especially if your opponent does decide to start throwing out those fan daggers that can end one way, or even like throwing out a few glintstone scraps, anything pretty much that has like the ability to pressure you. You have to respect it. It's a really rough situation, and I really didn't see Daniel being able to find his way back, but getting that whiff there and then Siri finishing off with the fan daggers was the play. That is how it is done. Wait for the whiff, punish it. Wait for the whiff. I
just realized something, Enda. Daniel does have a costume right now. His name is Earth Ranger 88. I think that fashion is a tribute to our good friend Space Ranger 77. I think I gotta say, that actually is a very good costume. It's very spot on.
And that's what we really want to see out of these here, as we do see Deadfish.
Interesting.
The pumpkin head, you know, it is Halloween. I kind of can't say I'm particularly surprised here, as we do see.
I do like the Death Knight armor, the pumpkin head. It all matches the Vikes and hands. It definitely makes some sense there. And Concrete is going to be utilizing. We are going to see that Raptor's chest coming out again, and that is going to be something that folks do. You know, doing a really good job of tying the fashion into that. However, the matching pants, the head match the helmet, or the hands to match the helmet rather. But looks like they're both in. Concrete on the right, Deadfish on the left. Enda, are you set?
I'm more or less put together for this one, LB. On a 3, on a 2, on a 1. Allez.
And here is the beam in. Our match is underway. We do see immediately going for the prawn again is the side. And here we are going to see Deadfish retaliate with a prawn of his own. The dashing coming through, the fan daggers, and 11 damage versus 10. So pretty much, again, same little dex builds. We're going to see big damage on those, though. I mean, he's chipped almost 100 health away from, sadly, our Concrete here as the jump R1 comes in. The neutral jump to try to punish the wave dash, and able to roll that. Very, very clean roll. Good read on that aggression. Knows when to roll it. The jump's going to come in from neutral. Good delay on it, but not able to catch it. The L1's going to come out from the side of Concrete here. The jumping L1 not going to land, as we see the punish trying to come in with the running R1 from the side of Deadfish. Deadfish resetting to a neutral, just getting a little bit more chip damage with those fan daggers. There is a few different terms of regeneration allowed in this. Good pressure though from Concrete. The jump to neutral's going to land. 774 though onto the side of Concrete from Deadfish. So Deadfish able to get a quick advantage from that interaction, eats the damage, and you see how short those weapons are on this latency, and then neither one of those even coming close to hitting, as you do see a good roll catch with the running R1 going for the roll catch there again. 432. Good delay on that. Goes for the neutral jump though. The L1 and neutral coming out from Concrete. Concrete at a little bit of a health disadvantage here, about 1,000 overall in damage, and you see Deadfish just trying to find the pressure forward. Good jumping L1 comes out, same thing, the counter attack, great spacing on that, but the L1 from neutral is going to land from the side of Concrete. Concrete going for the roll catch and able to land that. The R1 from Deadfish goes for the jump attack, landing the very late delayed R1. Good utilization of that. There's a roll catch into the bikes. Neutral R1, a crouch R1 rather, and that's going to be Deadfish taking the first in a 1-0.
What I want to say about that fight, LB, is you'll notice an awful lot of the pre-spacing on the side of Deadfish. And that's a sign of someone who's used to fighting against this setup, because they're like, I'm in a position where they can risk me, but I also want to be in a position now where I can turn that pressure around, go in, and get the hit right off of it. it's about this is what I was saying about Deadfish earlier. Really understands the setup, understands how it works and when he is in danger and when he isn't, and using that amount of pre-spacing to come back in and just clip him once or twice, move out, do rinse, repeat, set up so he doesn't overextend and end up getting hit by those jump attack, which beautifully enough he managed to punish. We'll see it here in just a second, hopefully, because that was really impressive that he had pre-spaced it, was confident enough in both the latency and his understanding of the weapon to pre-space and then immediately come back in and punish it. Really, really impressive
really,
stuff.
really good delay on the roll. So you see before that Deadfish tried to do a crouch cancel, so he's conditioning Concrete to know that that crouch cancel is going to come out. So instead he just does a dash and does the roll catch.
Yeah.
That is just, textbook Vortex play, mixing up your vortexes, making sure that they're never going to read it, especially with such a fast attack like this. Interesting neutral jump comes out from Concrete there.
Yeah.
But that spacing, again, we talked about this being really, really low latency. That spacing is definitely worth something there from Deadfish. I mean, spacing that jump L1 is just so difficult to do, even when it's super low latency. So just the read on that and knowing where to stand is just really, really formidable from Deadfish there.
Yeah, really, really solid stuff, and I'm just going to be super excited to see how Concrete adapts in this next one. It's unfortunate. Again, I think it's experience coming through here, LB, if I'm being completely honest with you. And again, someone who has considerable amount of hours on the setup, who I would say myself is very much a challenge in order to be able to deal with when using that setup. I'm going to be super excited to see how our players adapt here in this next set. As we do
looks
have
like
both
they
of our
are
players
all
in.
in. We're gonna have Concrete on the right and a 0-1 to Deadfish on the left, and end it whenever you are set.
Ladies and gentlemen, on a 3, on a 2, on a 1, let the bolt fly. Away she goes, as we are going to see the physic here from both players. We are going to see Concrete here going, and Deadfish going for the mirror here on this, going for the prawn, as we see both of them going here. A bit of fan daggers here from distance, trying to keep up the pressure. However, Concrete is going to roll. He's forced away Deadfish, keeping up. The pressure here isn't too high. However, Deadfish is always there in the periphery, ready to move in and punish anything. We see that Sally baits out the attack. However, he's going to be forced back as we see Concrete back into the corner. Manages to hit Deadfish for 723 damage.
Good anti-air there as well, and rolls the neutral jump.
And again comes back in here. We're seeing Deadfish isn't entirely dissuaded here from staying in the fight here. He's keeping that pressure up, trying to set up a few little baits here at distances. We see Concrete here throwing at the Frost Proc. Going in. That's 295. Tries to go to the board.
Jump's gonna land 327 in total on that, and has to get away. We do see another L1 coming through. 404. The neutral jump though is gonna land 774 into the L1, trying to find the Phantom hits there, but able to roll away from it. Again, this latency is just so incredibly low. Deadfish and Crouch trying to aggress here. Concrete on the back foot, able to roll away entirely from that jumping L1 and just resetting to a bit of a neutral here. So running R1's gonna come out. Good pressure there, able to get away from it, and then the Crouch L1's gonna land. There's the tier pop. 374 goes for the Crouch L1, and able to land another running R1 from the side of Deadfish here. Concrete not going down without a fight. Actually, 500 health advantage here. We do see a bolus come out, so that is gonna be huge for the side of Deadfish here. As the jumping R1, we're going to see another Phantom hit. Salieri very close to Madness proc here. He's got to get away. Good jump, though, and that's going to kill him there. 757 in total, and that's going to be Concrete leveling this back out to a 1-1.
Whatever nerves there were, whatever doubt there was that Concrete could come through in this one, he's definitely shown that he has the composure. He's able to get it back together. I wonder though, was it Deadfish that that was a pretty good first round of that set. I think I can carry through with this one. Over aggressing and then just getting put away as account of it. Bit overconfidence can be a huge killer in this game. And I think Deadfish was full sure he could do a repeat of what he did last time, which is a very confident first round, but this second round is a very, very different kettle of fish, LB. We see it here, both of them in. Deadfish over aggressing here, goes for that jump attack, wants to get it over with, but he's at such a huge life deficit. I don't know what he was thinking. Why, when you are at that deficit, even if you are confident in a matchup, you have to play it much more carefully. Right. Especially that over aggression can be punished with that jump L1 for, as we've seen there, about 700 damage. I was going to say it's crazy, but yeah, it is certainly that. And we didn't see a Madness proc this set either. That's another
No,
interesting
I
card
think
either.
I think that ball is right here from Deadfish is huge because he probably would have gotten hit. He would have been into madness here. So again, we talk about the bolus games, finding the time. Concrete
Hmm.
gives him the pressure to get away, or not the pressure,
Hmm.
rather the freedom to get away, and he takes that and uses the bolus. This allows him to play very aggressive, but the anti-air
Mm.
there from Concrete is just a really good stop to that. Gets away entirely, goes for the jump
Oof,
attack
that
into
was so
neutral,
good.
and there's that claw talisman, that spear talisman, just finishing out the rest of it, and that. I don't think that was based on how quickly how quickly that happened post the bolus. I don't think that was a madness death either. You will see that
Mm.
sometimes the madness proc will actually just kill, but I don't think that was the case in that one. Just a really good neutral jump.
Yeah, really, really solid stuff. As we are now on the match point, Deadfish in the far left corner with the pumpkin head. Concrete in the near corner on a 3, on a 2, on a 1. LA. Boom.
And here it is underway. We do see probably the same bit of buffs here. It actually goes for the punish and misses it. Oh no, so now he is going to be down in terms of Boil Prawn. Good crouch shot one from Concrete there. Tries to pull it back around from the running attack. Running attack comes out as well. Goes for the roll catch, but a little bit more range that would have landed. And there it is again. You see him able to get away entirely. Good freedom with the jump L1, but the punish is there from the side of Deadfish. There's an L1 as well. Going for these vortexes. Able to get away from that. Those aside of Concrete. A big madness advantage here. Ooh, good anti-air on the L1, but there's the neutral jump. Oh, and the Vikes is going to find the madness kill right there to Concrete as well. So a very short ending to our best of 5, or best of 3 rather, for these contestants.
Yes.
And again, it was just one of those things. Deadfish gets some early aggression on, able to find that madness build up right away. And unfortunately, that's going to be the difference there is, you have to kind of counter aggress when your bar is losing, when you're losing the madness bar, you have to counter aggress. And that is something that, Salieri tried to do, did a really good job of, but Deadfish just knew that, was there with the read. That jump comes through, and a really good clean showing from both of our contestants there.
Yeah,
and this should be a very exciting match coming up.
Well, and the last thing to say in that one, I think whatever, the over-aggression, maybe perhaps the overconfidence on the side there at Deadfish in that first set, very much a different story there in that third, got it together, found the exact moment he had the opportunity to get in and do the damage. The reads were perfect this time. There was no doubt. Maybe that last set was, I have a set to play around with. Let's play a little bit more risky. This is very different, as we do see the bolt will go out here any moment now as we look at it. It's interesting going for that over aggression. You'd mentioned that that can be a huge loss, that you're down the prawn in an exchange there. But I think it does another thing, which is it messes up your opponent's game plan, LB. It forces them on the back foot all the way through, and it puts them in a slightly more defensive posturing. And, what you lose in terms of game mechanics, you gain in terms of, like, your mind games and your ability to pressure them off it. Sally, all the way through this set, was completely on the back foot, wasn't given an opportunity to get his reads right, and I think that's really the defining factor here. Having to think about it versus being on that autopilot, coasting through and managing to get the damage in because the setup so well. I think that would be my take on and how that set went as well as it did.
Yeah, and again, so you see at this point now, Concrete needs to counter aggress. He gets a good anti-air there, and he just unfortunately goes for the vortex. The jump lands, and then the L1 is going to be the anti-air, and there's the madness proc. So again, when you're losing that madness bar, you kind of have to aggress there, or you need to really get away and play it super slow, super safe. It's one of those two things. And he comes in and he has those little bits of experience are going to show through. But again, I think a phenomenal showing from Concrete there.
Yeah, for sure.
Is a very, very good player and takes a round off him. That definitely.
And now we're going. Which of them is
that? Is quite the costume there from the side of Dark Soap. I gotta say, that is actually just very, very good. Oh my goodness. He's got the tattoos and everything. He's got the eyeliner on. That is quite the costume from the side of Dark Soap. And here comes Bevan on something a little more, a little more classic.
A bit more Bevan, I'd say, on this one. Although I do like the addition of the EU hat. I think the EU Frisbee Lionel's helm is a good addition. Maybe he's cosplaying. What trousers?
I think he's rocking the Steve of Sky cosplay there. I'll be curious to see what his name is, but we looks like he do. And there it is. He does have the Steve of Sky cosplay going on. So there is still some fashion and contest happening here. But I mean, that is actually just so crazy from Dark Soap there. But Bevan's somebody that has put a lot of time into the duels Great Spears as well, especially more recently. And and again, very formidable on them. So we'll have to see how it plays out. Bevan on the right, ladies and gentlemen. Dark Soap on the left.
And a 3 and a 2 and a 1. Ale.
And here it is, our bolt underway. We do see a flask traded out from each one of these contestants here, and just trying to find their way in. Good little fan dagger use. Good utilization of the Asher War is going to find the trade though. 777 into 359. That's going to favor Dark Soap here. Bevan trying to find a way in. He gets that Asher War trying to get a little bit of pressure in this mind game with the status. Good jumping L1. Great spacing from Bevan though to get away from that. The L1 come out on it, but it lands. That goes for the jumping R1. Actually nukes and jumps it out, and now he's going to find the pressure. Anti-air 506 finds another crouch broke. The jump's going to come in, rolling that. No, and now the pressure is there. There's the 9. This proc 990 goes for another crouch attack. That's going to be a tier proc as well. The jump is L1 is not going to land, and oh my goodness, Bevan is just in his face, ready to go. The crouch L1 does miss. The jumping L1 from the side of Dark Soap. Bevan is not letting him get away from this easily, and I just want to focus as well. That madness bar still in favor of Bevan throughout all of this, and there's Dark Soap following Bevan, taking the first in a 1-0.
Really, really solid stuff here on the side of Bevan, and man, like to play that cleanly all the way through. Dark Soap, it's one of the interesting things to watch all the way across here when seeing Dark Soap plays. He's a very trade-heavy player. We've seen it before, especially on latency. That's kind of the advantage he has. He's looking for those advantageous trades because of how latency works in that interaction. He's going to try and really solid.
Especially considering the latency, you're looking at again Eastern EU to Western United States. Those jump ones, they genuinely. The slogan is "hit from Kilo," and they genuinely do. Like, it is so impressive to see somebody negatively space that.
Yeah, and I can see what Dark Soap was trying to do all the way across here as well. And that madness proc was so unfortunate. Do we see the tier pop? Keeps up that madness. I don't think Bevan even really necessarily needed to hit him there. He just needed to keep the madness proc going. Just needed to keep that bar as high as it could. Try and get that pressure constantly and keep Dark Soap on the wrong foot. Bevan played exceptionally there. Absolutely exceptionally. And I'm not sure what Dark Soap's going to be able to do to turn this one around, LB, if I'm being completely honest with you.
Just look at that spacing there at the end as well. I mean, as a good friend of mine once put it, I think Bevan played a binder here and was able to space everything out very, very well with all things considered. And again, was actually winning the Madness build-up after getting a Madness proc as well. But I mean, just if you look at like when the Phantom procs had landed, he found immediate aggression after that and was already still up in the Madness bar. So just really,
right hand, yeah, for sure.
Dark Soap needs to pull something around. He's got to stop joking around on us here. We have Dark Soap on the left, 0-1. That's Bevan on the right. Enda.
Oh, out of 3 and a 2 and a 1, ladies and gentlemen. LA. And out comes the bolt here. We are going to see both of our players going for their physic here. We're seeing Bevan taking a very aggressive posturing right off the bat. Gets 722 damage there. The read was a bit off. Goes for the trade. There's the side of Dark. Oh, and the 832 anti-air with the terms of the jump L1. Really solid here on the side. Dark Soap is definitely having his game in this one, as you do see the ballast here on the side of Bevan. Manages to knock him out. However, has managed to get trade in. Bevan is very low. We talked about Dark Soap finding a way around here to change something up, and it's definitely working here. Bevan is on the back foot here. Anti-air, 889 damage here. Bevan manages to land on Dark. However,
Madness proc, and there's a punish on that. The tears in a proc, that's 780 damage. Bevan's not out of this one entirely.
It doesn't seem so.
And I spoke a little too soon, I think. And the commentator curse, I think, came through there for Bevan, as Dark Soap's able to even this out in a 1-1.
Oh, 1-1. Another match point, LB. So early on yet again, and do you think we're gonna see a little bit more after these last 2 sets? Both players have had a chance to download each other. They've had the opportunity to see what's going on, get the lay of the land. Do you think that we're going to see a much tighter game next time around, much closer, much more closed, and both players playing a little bit more careful? Or do you think that the play styles of these players don't necessarily, is advantageous for them to play that way? What do you reckon we're going to see here? That's what I'm curious about.
I think Bevan I think he kind of had the same thing happen that Deadfish had happened, which was he won the first one so cleanly that he was just like, oh, okay, this match is free. I can just run in and do whatever. And Dark Soap is just right there. Again, Dark Soap is not, I've not had the pleasure of fighting him. He's, this hasn't lined up with schedules, but he is a very formidable player from everything that we've seen and from all the people that have told me about him. And he definitely isn't somebody that you can kind of, for lack of a better term, sleep on. And that's what Bevan did there. Bevan comes in, he has a really good first round. He's like, okay, yeah, I won the first stock. This is not going to be a problem. And then he just completely 180s it. So this should be a really good match point here. We're going to have Bevan on the right and a 1-1 even to Dark Soap on the left. This is our match point, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, we'll see now if there's any clowning around, ladies and gentlemen, on a 3, on a 2, and a 1. LA. There we go,
And
the bolt.
here it is. We do have the flasks traded out from each one of these players, and we do see immediate fan dagger use. Really staying true to the character name here is going to be the side of Bevan, but good jump L1 comes out from Darksub. Ooh, the running L1 actually lands. 321 to the corner of the Vortex trying to come through here. The running attack, actually the crouch L1's going to land, goes for the neutral crouch as well. Oh no, and the wave dashes are theirs. Oh, I thought he fell off the map for a second.
He's gonna go off the edge there. I mean, you know, the Bevan pressure is pretty scary. But not to say, oh, he's caught in the corner there, and Bevan manages to roll here, keeping the pressure off, manages to roll a beautiful stuff here. Bevan keeping that aggression here, looking for his way in. He may be overly keen here. That it's going to be red latency hit there, the 291. 353 damage there. The status is going to be very high on both of these guys here. They're going to have to play it super safe all the way across. Bevan walks into it.
R1 there, goes for the jump L1, but now Bevan, you know, very slowly urging his way back in. You notice Darksub hasn't left this corner, and there he goes finally.
He manages to finally get out, but takes a bit of damage here, and with that life disadvantage, and that's going to be all cheer out. That madness proc is no laughing matter, ladies and gentlemen, as unfortunately Dark Soap is going to be put away first round, and Bevan moves on into second to go and fight Deadfish. This has been just what a set this was, LB. Like we had in the first round Bevan very aggressive, managing to take Dark out. Second round, every read I've heard it's funny enough, I've heard Steel describe it as every read sometimes is going to be countered by Dark. He's just going to get every read perfect, and you're just going to walk into everything. That is the kind of player he is. He's very read heavy, and if your reads aren't on top of it, it's going to be good night and good luck there, as we'll get another look at this round here. Really nice early aggro here on the side of Bevan. Really, really nice.
Yeah, and you mentioned that the heavy read play of Dark Soap, and Bevan is quite the contrary, a very reactive player, and you can see that in everything he's doing. He waits to go for the poke until he's pretty confident he's going to land the roll catch on it. He keeps him in the corner. He's rolling every single jump. Yeah, he's getting that phantom proc build up, but he's even every delay with the jump, he jumps in, he delays before he attacks. He's waiting to react to what his opponent is going to do. The bolus comes out, he reacts to the space coming out, and just immediately gets in there. And it can be quite difficult, especially on a setup like this, to play against such a reactive, aggressive player.
Yeah, and that can be pretty tough. And if you're gonna live by the read, you're gonna die by the read. Unfortunately, in these situations, I'll be. And Dark, always looking for those opportunities to get those good jump L1s in as counter pressure. They are a great anti-air, and we managed to see one of the Vikes clip. I was gonna say steal there, but no, one of the raids managed just to clip Bevan there. But Bevan's right back in, isn't scared, doesn't do that double roll away. He's gonna stay in as close as he can, but he gets clipped here, there, all the way across the board, LB. It's nothing. Even though he's been winning this entire fight overall, it's not for free. He does have to be very careful. He's one or two jump L1s from an equalizer all the way through this fight, but he stays there. He's still in it. He legit is just going to keep up that aggression because he knows that's his win con here. A beautiful, beautiful display here. Jump R1 here, mixing it up to try and get those catches. We see the L1 there. The turnaways that Dark Soap has always been known for, and then the Madness Pro. That's, yep, super, super unfortunate there on the side of Dark Soap. And I reckon that's the best costume we've seen so far, LB. What do you reckon? Apparently. But the fashion, however. And there we have it, folks. It seems we sorted out the madness proc. We applied the bolus on LBU's net there, and we're back and ready to go, ladies and gents. As we do have Moloch here versus Frosty. Straight up and ready to go. Moloch here with the signature EU hat and what seems to be is... I'm not quite
Frosty
sure.
and Veterans?
I
didn't know that was... I didn't think he had the armor, honestly.
I'm curious what his name is. Is he cosplaying me? There's no way. It's possible.
Oh, it's possible, I suppose.
It's possible. We'll have to see what the name is.
I would say he's got the name pretty much on, or he's got the face pretty much on point. I would guess, and it is End of the Frosty right there as well. So
you know what? Listen, he's missing the hard stock, but you know what? Listen, it's close enough given the circumstances, ladies and gentlemen. As we have both of our players in and ready to go, and there we have it. I'm curious what this Frosty is playing at now, LB. What is he cooking up for us?
Interesting, interesting. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. But we do have both of our contestants then. Yeah, Moloch in the EU hat on the right, Frosty with the EU face on the left, and we do have them both in Endo when you are set.
Ladies and gentlemen, on a 3, on a 2, on a 1, Ale. Out comes the bolt here, and there we have it. And we are going to see Frosty using the... you know what? That's not very ending now, to be honest with you. We do have the EU hat finally on Frosty here, as we are going to see them both fighting here for center. Using the one-handed Vikes versus the power stance here is the side of Frosty. Keeping it up here, going for that jump R1, not able to land it.
Good jump R1 from the side of Moloch, though. Really good pressure comes through and goes for another one. The trade comes out, though. 203, the anti-air not quite there. As one little chip of damage comes through. I think it's the Briar's gauntlets. Oh, a huge jump comes through again!
And he's keeping up the pressure here across the board. Manages to go for the jump R1 and do the anti-air there. And there's the Madness Proc. And there we see the two-handed Vikes come out. And out it comes again. We see the perfume.
Perfume coming out as well. And that's a very Frosty mentality to utilize stuff like that. And gets the bolus and gets it free. Doesn't even get countered with the status pressure and keeps it up as well. So two jumping R1s coming in and try to flip this one back around. So Frosty doing a really good job pulling this back and trying to reset these fights here. As we do see kind of an even match here through and through.
Yeah, and again, they're both fighting very heavy here for center. And, you know, with only a few health on the difference, really, LB, I think there's only 5 or 6 health actually in this difference here. It's there's everything to play for. However, 510 there goes to the anti-air with the R1, forcing the roll out there, going for the rolling attack there. Moloch is going to have to be very careful here. He's going to be very close to that Madness Proc yet again. Goes for the jump, forcing it away. Out comes the jump R1 on the side of Frosty.
Ooh.
Frosty rolling away.
He's going to counter the pressure here because he's got that madness built up himself, and he's doing a really good job of countering the aggression. Gets a little too over-enthusiastic there. Gets a roll catch in. 432 able to get away from that, though. Moloch goes for the jump, and it's going to land into the madness, and that's going to finish out Frosty there.
You know, over-enthusiastic. He's doing the end of cosplay a little bit too well. I think just a little bit too well there, as he is going to be put away, and Moloch takes that win. And, you know, all the way through that fight, we had a very, very interesting back and forth all the way across.
And I would actually say that was like that back and forth was a really good war of attrition, especially from the side of Frosty and keeping that pressure forward throughout. But the single Vikes and finding a Madness Proc.
You know, finding it there, I think it stands, of course, all the way to Frosty. You know, I'm not sure if he understands what power stancing is. You know, he's been using that HTS so much.
True.
I think he's not quite aware that is a strategy you can go for. But he showed glimmers of having the understanding there when he did, once he got the Madness Proc, going for the swap and then punishing it then with a jump L1, which is of course exactly what you should do. Frosty, even though it bites you sometimes that he's not playing necessarily up to him, that catching him there with the Madness Proc was super unfortunate.
Yeah, the roll is a little bit too late there, gets caught, the Madness comes through, the burst damage kills him. And one thing that's really interesting to know with the single Vikes is you have to remember that Vikes do apply fire damage, so it makes sense that he doesn't want to hold on to both of them, as he is a little bit, you know, Frosty. He might melt with that. So we do have Frosty on the right, Moloch on the left, a 1-0 in favor of Moloch. Enda, are you set?
I'm not quite sure where there he is. We found him. He's just scampering off into his correct corner. There is the side of Frosty. Ladies and gentlemen, we have both of our players in and ready to go. The bow from Frosty, and the bow, of course, followed up by Moloch. Amazing sportsmanship from both of our players as we see the bolt ready on a 3 and a 2 and a 1. Allez.
And there it is, our match now underway. Both of our contestants working their way to each other. We do see now some consumables coming out from these players, trying to get as much pressure that they can. It's nearly impossible to punish the physic here, but you can get those alluring skulls out. You can get those, you know, those glintstone scraps out and really start this pressure forward. And you see he's doing a really good job zoning Moloch back with that. The 2-Vike is going to come out now. Let's see what he plans to do with that power stance. Ooh, going for a backstep into L1, I think, there, but decides not to go for it with his read. Frosty, a very read-heavy player. Again, Moloch, a very reactive player, goes for the jump, but unable to land on either side. Nice little even read from both of them, traded out entirely and just reset to a bit of a neutral here.
Yeah, and again, Frosty here is trying to keep Moloch stuck in the corner here because it drastically reduces the options. But Moloch is known, of course, for going for those you know, he'll bait his opponent in with the corner pressure, and you know, Frosty's doing a good job of not necessarily falling for it. He's trying to find those opportunities to come in. Out comes the running R1 there, not able to connect, but that is going to build up status all the way across, which is going to be so unfortunate. Both of them go for the jump L1s, not quite able to make it, as we do see Moloch taking a little bit of damage there. I think that's the first hit so far. However, there's been so many ghost hits there. And that's
counter jump comes out from Frosty. They're really good read. Finds the jump R1 there. Jumping in neutral again, looking for the crouch L1 coming out now from Moloch. Moloch is going to go for the bolus, and Frosty's going to trade that out himself. And now we're just going to really reset to a neutral here. Frosty at about 1,000 health advantage.
Yeah, and that 1,000 health is going to make a huge amount of difference, but it's going to be very, very well offset by one jump L1 is going to even this score out by a considerable margin, LB. Because again, the amount, that raw damage output here on the Vikes is so important, and we see the trade here on Moloch. Frosty's going to be very high on that madness build up here, as he does manage to go for it, forcing the roll there is the side of Frosty. Force back, he's against the wall. This is a bad position for himself to find him, but he manages to get out. And that's going to be a huge turnaround there for Frosty. He's no longer stuck in the corner, but he is!
No!
He's stuck in an animation!
Oh, and the neutral jumps right back at him for 1,000 damage. The jump R1, and that's going to land. That's going to be Frosty leveling it back to a 1-1. I honestly thought his controller disconnected. When he just stood there and tanked the L1, I thought his controller disconnected. But it was just all part of the plan.
It was, you know, listen, the master plan here on the side of Frosty here as he manages to claw back a victory on that one, but it's going to be I'm going to be interested to see what this entire exchange. I believe he went for the bolus, LB. That's what I believe happened all the way across there.
Okay.
I think that's why he was stuck in the animation there. Or, you know, maybe he just wanted to bait him into something. Maybe that's a, you know, 4D chess kind of read here. It would shock me if Frosty is going to play on that. He is cosplaying a very read-heavy player, so it wouldn't shock me if he's going for that. And we see the bolus there. Manages to... An interesting interaction there for sure, but Frosty manages to get out of that corner. He's up against the wall, which is such a bad position to be in across the board. Just super bad to have all of your options cut down so significantly by that corner pressure. Out comes the jump attack there. Manages to force the roll on that one, and oh,
I think it looks like he did get the bolus off. It's actually a good thing he did get that bolus off. What a good read there, though. 1,000 damage off of that jump.
Yeah, and that can be such a turnaround, and manages to land another one then as a punish. I'm not sure, maybe Moloch was out of stamina, maybe he didn't, he thought he could roll out, or maybe just a late roll. It does happen from time to time, but yeah, absolutely incredible stuff here on the side of Frosty, not just because he's cosplaying, me honest.
For real. But looks like we do have, oh, the TVE is still alive. It's a good start. Oh, there's Slicer. Yeah, thank goodness we won't see that in that one. I actually think Slicer is less honest than Dual Bikes nowadays, but we will have both of our contestants in the world working on making their way to their respective corner, as it looks like Frosty is still jumping about, and there he comes, and now he's
and now we have Frosty in and ready to go.
Making sure that we get a good look.
I think that's the play here. But oh, we're...
There he goes. Okay.
Okay.
And helmet's back on. He's got the frisbee up.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, on a 3, on a 2, on a 1, allez. And out comes the bolt here. We are going to see the Physicara immediately punished, however, by the Glintstone scraps, as we are going to see the prawn here on the side of Moloch. Going for another Glintstone scrap there, however, he will be chased here by these little projectiles here as he is forced out. Keeping that aggression, though, right off the bat. Moloch really wants that aggression all the way across. He doesn't want to give Frosty an opportunity. He doesn't want to let Frosty be cool and collected all the way through this. He wants to keep up the pressure, force Frosty to play his game. However, Frosty is having none of it, forcing him back. We see the jump R1 trying to catch there.
Circles it back around from the side of Frosty.
Yeah, he's keeping up the pressure all the way across here. Moloch is very much in charge of this fight, and I think maybe watching the last tournament here where Frosty was pushed back, pushing Frosty here into the corner. I mean, Frosty's managing to get out yet again, going for that little bit of an air to give him that extra degree of security just in case he's clipped. Out comes the jump L1. Frosty is going to have to be looking for this bolus here. However, he is going to clip Moloch for 200 damage. I believe that's the first hit. Moloch clipped again. Frosty is just swatting away here. However, is that going to be Frosty? No, he doesn't quite go over the edge there, ladies and gentlemen. A bit of a close call there.
Did he jump the madness?
Yeah, he may have jumped the madness there. I'm not sure if he got an opportunity to ball us or if the bar
And it
was
looks like
low
he
enough.
didn't because the ball
No.
comes through there. So very interesting. It's going to be traded out now from Moloch as they reset to their neutral here. The back steps in, really looking for that backstep L1. And I will say the phantom range on that backstep L1 is just about the same as the jump L1 on these
Mm.
weapons. So it's not a bad attack to use. It's just one that's very underused due to the crouch with L1 being as strong as it is. But just kind of really resetting here, and Frosty just in really not wanting to aggress into this. The jump attack's going to come out. It's going to miss entirely, not even getting some phantom pressure, and just kind of really resetting to a neutral here. The jump's coming out from Frosty, trying to make something happen.
Yeah, and Frosty here is just doing a good, whenever Moloch even gives a hint of over-aggressing, he's just swatting him away, which is, a very Frosty style. Looking for his opponent to chase him down and really, like, find those golden opportunities to do that damage. And there's the Madness proc, there's the jump L1, and that's going to be the tier popped. That's going to give Frosty a huge advantage all the way through this. The jump L1 forcing the roll. We see Frosty going for that run R1. Forced back here. Is he going to get clipped here? He does not. We may see the Briar's hands on the side of Frosty again. Really dedicating to this cosplay as he's forced away, back away. Frosty leading Moloch around the place, forcing the roll there. Is going to be clipped for 442 damage.
Oh, the neutral jump catches him!
Take the win there with that jump. Once again, leaping into that second round, LB. Oh my word, really, really well played here on the side of Frosty, and I have to say Moloch kept up that aggression, but unfortunately that over-aggression ultimately cost him there at the end there, as we see some more shenanigans at the side of Frosty. Well played to both of our contestants, an exceptional round there, but when an opponent is playing that way, when they're kiting you around the place, looking for those opportunities to get that bit of damage in, LB, how do you feel? Do you think how do you deal with that? Do you kind of play the passive game and wait for them to come to you? Or do you play into it and hope that you're able to read the bits of counter aggression that they're able to put through? What do you reckon?
So when you're fighting like the neutral jump playstyle and you're fighting like the full on, like, I think green quadrant, very passive read heavy playstyle, you kind of have to you have to play extremely reactive. So when you hit that first L1, if you go for that vortex, you need to be ready to be mashing B if they go in the air, right? If you don't go for the vortex and they jump, you need to very calmly reaction roll that attack and just get away from it. And that's, you have to be very cautious aggressing it, because something especially like the power stance, the great spears are going to have such high damage input for a punish there. It's the classic the Elden Ring neutral jump pressure, right? It's just always going to be there. It's something you have to be wary of. And Frosty is somebody that plays a setup that relies on it so heavily, which would be the heavy thrusting sword in more traditional tournaments. So he's going to be really, really familiar with how to do that. So Moloch just needs to play extremely reactive into that and know that when he's aggressing him, he needs to aggress him specifically off of his reads.
Yeah, it was really, really nice there. Just that punish, managing to get that madness. And then forcing him back then in order to try and get extra damage. Really solid stuff here at the side of Frosty.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see them kind of, Frosty it's just slowly chipping him down too to get that. We saw a lot of that, the matches that had a really large health deficit, it was over in 30 seconds. And Frosty's somebody that takes his time to really make sure before he goes for an attack that he's going to go for. And the ending here was just so strong. You see really good spacing coming out from Moloch there. He's able to space the attack. Great negative spacing comes out, gets the pressure forward. And from this point forward, Frosty appears to be on the back foot, and he almost eats a few attacks. And it almost looks like they're intentional that he eats a few of those attacks. So I think he gets the bolus off here. It goes for the jump attack, and then the pressure comes in again from Moloch, and he's just forced back. He eats an L1, he gets vortexed into another, and that's when the jump comes out.
Yeah, again, and goes for that jump then at the end to finish it out. Like to be confident enough to go for that jump, even on this high last, that's 90% prediction there. It has to be, because on reaction, with the way that the latency is going to work, he is going to be clipped, because on the other person's screen, the hitboxes still connect. So it's just the nature of the beast. Sometimes it makes me regret that FromSoft put the jump button in with the with the lower hitbox removed. But Frosty takes the win, moving on into the next round. And who do we have up next, LB? It seems
this should be a fun one. We're gonna have again the reason that Vikes are now allowed in the leaderboard. That's gonna be Honest Faraday. Did a lot of effort on that to make sure that those things could happen. But then it goes Yuzu, somebody, a phenomenal fundamental player, has been in a few tournaments, won a few tournaments, very, very good, has been active in our tournament scene. He's taken a small break, but he's back. He's ready. If there was ever an event to come back for, this is the one he's going to come back for.
Yeah.
This should be a really good match. These players are relatively evenly matched in this set, Enda. They're both very clean, good, fundamental players. Faraday's had a great journey in this game. I mean, when he first started out, you could tell he was new to the series, new to the game, a couple things to work on, but he put in time and he has become a phenomenal player.
Yeah, really, really solid stuff as we are. I'm not sure which of them this is. This may very well be Yuzu, I believe.
That is Yuzu, yeah. He's got the Red Witch costume here, which is quite nice. The Fire Monk.
Very nice. That's definitely going to be a contender. Very, very solid stuff. As we are going to see, the dual Vikes again. The signature of the tournament, and we are going to see Honest Faraday. Pretty good. We're seeing some good, and there's actually some good contenders here so far, LB. This isn't bad at all. Okay. Kind of going for you. We see the little bit of the Briars there. You have to have a little bit of meta every now and again, LB, just to keep the aim punch going. But we have both of our players in. Yuzu is on the right. We have Honest Faraday on the left. Ladies and gentlemen, on a 3, on a 2. On a 1, allez.
And here comes that bolt in. The flask traded out from both of these contestants as they work their way forward. And the boiled prawn coming out from Yuzu, trying to find the crouch punish, is managing to get it. 394 immediately from Faraday. Goes for the jump attack. Great spacing comes out from Yuzu. The counter's going to be in. Goes for the vortex. Able to roll that out. It's going to be the side of Faraday. Resetting to a neutral. Faraday looking for that jump, but he's going to be countered out by the jump from Yuzu. 896 damage is going to land. That Madness bar is getting pretty big. And the jump bar one's going to come out. Goes for the crouch mix up. The trade comes out. That's going to favor Yuzu. Jump attack's going to land. 837. Goes for the roll catch. Able to get away from that. The roll coming out from Yuzu. Resetting to a bit of a neutral here. The JR1's gonna come out, tries to find the pressure. The crouch R1. The neutral jump lands. 1139 from the side of Yuzu.
My word, and there you go. You talk about how good those reads are, and both players are more or less going for kind of the fashion look here, and that's the consequence of it, taking an exceptional amount of damage on a jump L1. Absorption's important, everyone. Looking pretty is one thing, but definitely making sure you don't get 3-shot is also another one. Oh, nasty stuff there as Yuzu manages to clip Faraday, forcing him back. And, Faraday not quite able to... Oh, and the 800... So unfortunate there. Not quite able to make the spacing in that one. Faraday taking a little bit to try and adjust to everything that's going on, and, oof. Sadness is the only way I could put it. 712 damage, goes for that jump, manages to get it. Good read there on Faraday all the same. He was looking for that opportunity. It's unfortunate that last L1 did not manage to connect, but he's keeping up the pressure. He's not giving up. Both of these players played very aggressively all the way across there, but that jump really, really well played there on the side of Yuzu. Very, very good stuff. Very good stuff.
Yuzu was playing just a really clean game there through and through. He actually, the punish that he got was from a miss input. He went to do the crouch L1 and actually just did a full sprint. And I think a vortex probably would have anti-aired Faraday there. And that's what Yuzu was going for. He just misses the input. So really clean play from Yuzu all the way there. We are going to have him on the right, up 1-0 to Faraday on the left.
Well, there we have it, folks. We are going to have both of our players in and ready to go on a 3, on a 2, and a 1. LA.
And the bolt is in here. And interestingly enough, I'm curious what rune Faraday's actually using here, as he's looking at about a 600 damage difference. Oh no, 1248. The jump attack's gonna land from the side of Yuzu there, immediately finding the pressure onto him. And now Faraday's got to be careful. He needs some really good plays to pull this one back around. The L1's gonna land as he go for the vortex. He does, gets the anti-air, tries to chain it into the jump attack. Not gonna land on the side of Yuzu though. Yuzu actually going for a bolus here, and now he's gonna try to counter pressure. The jump comes out in the preparation of the read. The good jump comes out. That's a trade there. Pretty even now in terms of health. 922 to 640. Very, very interesting setup here so far. And, Faraday trying to pull this one back and doing a good job of it thus far. Good counter comes out from the side of Yuzu. The jump L1's going to land for 640 in the exact same fashion. L1 into the jump L1 from the side of Yuzu, and Faraday falling for the bait the second time in a row, and Yuzu's going to move on in a 2-0 sweep.
Yeah, super unfortunate there on the side of Faraday. Same as before, managing to walk into an insane amount of damage across the board there. It's unfortunate it happens, ladies and gentlemen, but Yuzu is going to move on to fight Frosty in round 2. And now, something I'm sure everyone is going to be looking forward to here on this one, Stilovsky versus Artota. Going to be an exceptional round here. Of course, Steel has been in numerous tournaments. He's, a good friend of the den here, ladies and gentlemen. And Artura of doing the Artura's weekly brackets as well, someone who's well known within the community. And I think this is going to be a really exciting match. Do you have any predictions about how this one is going to go, LB?
This is going to be close, but I would have to, fan favorite vote for the side of Stolovsky here. He's got the, Atora is somebody that does use a status build. He's well known for that sleep bird playstyle on the leaderboard, but Steel is someone that has so many hours in G Spears and things like Vikes, Lances. It's what he uses in his invasions. So he knows how to manage people from all different types of latency on the setup. He knows when to vortex, when to jump, things like that. He's going to be really, really hard opponent for Atora to get past here.
Yeah, it's going to be it's you look at sometimes you get stuck in a first round with some very stiff opposition here, and our fan of aviation himself is of course going to be the one I think who's going to make that stiff opposition.
I'm really excited to see Steel's costume. I know it's going to be something absolutely ridiculous. It just has to be.
Speaking of costumes, though, of it so far, we had Yuzu and Faraday there. Faraday's I think was my personal favorite in that one. In the last one, of course, we had Dark Soap with the Joker costume. Very, very cute. Very, very nice. But how do you feel? Who's taking the cake so far, LB?
I don't think anybody has gotten past Dark Soap, and the closest was probably Frosty because the detail in the face was actually pretty darn good. I'm actually going to go ahead and just post it in chat for you guys. Frosty sent me an image of a side-by-side comparison, and you guys got to check this out. It is absolutely phenomenal. It's really, really well put together. So let me just paste this in really quick if I can grab the actual link here. Let's see if I know how to use a computer.
Well, listen, you get out on those on these big jobs. Yeah. I think is something to that effect. I think is what a great man once said. But the attention to detail was impressive. I'm not sure whether to be flattered or terrified personally. But you know what? Listen, it is Halloween. We had a bit of this. We take a bit of one and half of the other. It's pretty good. But ladies and gentlemen, we're waiting to get this next set in. I'm curious what the predictions are across the board here looking at.
So incredibly good that it's really fun to watch those, and looks like Steel Dash there. Is that actually Braun?
It's gonna be Braun there, Braun, with a bit of a spooky mask.
He's got the. That's a pretty darn good costume.
That's kind of cute. I think I think that's definitely up there so far. Thematic, Halloween. Got to get the spooky, scary skeletons and what?
Is that Sluntman?
I'm not sure what. I recognize it. I'm just not sure what it's called. I'd be curious as to what the name is going to be on this one. We'll have to see here.
That's pretty
Terror of Mag. Okay, you know what? LB? I think we're pretty much ready to carry on.
I think we're all set. We got Steel Dash on the left. We got Braun on the right. And
ladies and gentlemen, on a 3, on a 2, on a 1, allez. Kaboom, out goes the bolt here, and we are going to see Braun, the Terror of Mag, moving forward, taking his physic, going to eat nom 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 and a bit of prawn there as he keeps up the pressure here, forcing Steel Dash into the corner. We see the Frost Pot there, keeping him at bay. However, he's going to go for that jump R1, not quite able to connect. Steel is going to keep in close. We see the wave dashing back and forth here towards the center, forcing him back here is the side of Steel Dash. And again, he's going to get melted if he gets hit, LB.
And the flip side of that, though, Enda, is he is going to be utilizing Light Roll.
Interesting,
Given that he's not wearing any armor whatsoever, he is going to get some pretty good utilization of Light Roll in there as well, and it's going to be a nice trade-off. He's going to take a lot of damage if he gets hit, but it's going to be pretty hard to hit him.
Yeah, it's going to be a difficult one here. I'm not sure what the latency is between either of these two here, but it's going to be definitely quite difficult, although we see quite a nice roll catch there in the form of the rolling R1 there on the side of Steel, who is going to eat an awful lot of damage there. He's going to have to be much more careful. However, he's going to turn turn it around. However, he is going to be, oh my word, trading out these jump L1s, and that's going to be all she wrote as Steel Dash is bullied from one side to the other by the terror of Mag, ladies and gentlemen. And that is going to be Brondigo taking that first set. Very, very nice stuff. And we're seeing it here. No light roll. We're seeing a clarification here on the side of Steel Dash. Interesting, interesting. But what did you make of that fight overall, LB?
I think the best way that I could describe it would probably be the skull emoji. No, that was a pretty clean match through and through. Braun showed a lot of really good pressure with those Vikes. So you're gonna notice he gets clipped once or twice here, but he has a really good vortex, even to the point where he's actually getting some HP back with that God Cloth as well, or the Swaddling Cloth rather. So he's going to find a roll catch and just continue that vortex, that pressure forward. And that being able to mix your opponent up with the vortex is where these weapons come in. So you see him waiting to find the right punish, goes for the crouch cancel, finds it, and actually just goes for the third poke, which is very uncommon. He's going to get the Phantom proc off of it. He's going to get some health back as well. And that's definitely stating something. The jump comes through, but immediately flips it right back around. Yeah. And just a huge jump attack, 930 damage. I mean, that's that no armor right there. It's going to play a role.
Yeah, definitely going to be a nasty one as he's going to be put away there in that last one. But I want to say a really, really, really nice read there on the side of Braun. Braun did a fantastic job. He understood that he could just stand there, wait, hold up, and then just immediately turn that pressure around and hit him. That's the nasty part with trying to vortex against someone else who has something like a PSGS. You have to be careful about those overextends. You have to play reactively. If they take their time a little bit too much, you're going to be in a spot of bother. And, you know, we have both of our contestants back in and ready to go, LB. Oh, I'm going to be excited to see this one. Ladies and gentlemen, on a 3, on a 2, on a 1. Ale.
And here it is. There's going to be match point against Steel Dash here. Braun going to go ahead and actually take a punish. So 319 damage comes through in the form of a Frost Pot against that bolus. And he's going to get eaten. Oh, no! 908 when he goes to eat the bolus there to alleviate that frost, that cold proc. And that's going to give Steel a really good quick advantage. He's got about 1,000 health advantage here, about 1,200 to be exact. And he's going to find time to get a Boiled Prawn in there as well. He kind of needs that at this point. He's so low in terms of overall absorption here. He needs every little thing that he can get. Good running R1's going to counter it out. Good neutral jump from Braun, but the running L1 actually does manage to land. The free aim comes through and the jumps in the land though. 1460 and a single jump attack there, and he can afford to take exactly one more of those before he dies here, as it's going to be very tricky for him. It's again, you talk about you kind of need to just not get hit when you're utilizing this, and it's not that easy to do against these. And there's going to be a nice little proc coming through, a lot of damage building up there. The jump L1 not going to land. Good spacing comes out there from the side of Steel Dash, trying to find the pressure forward. The running R1 unable to land that. But you see the Rouch attack now coming in from the side of Braun. The Vortex starting 300 damage, waits for the delay, goes for the roll catch here, and there it is, unable to land that though. The bike's not enough range to jump. R1 strafed around there from the side of Braun. Braun finding the roll catch. There's a tier box, 600, 1200 is the Vortex trying to get pressure forward, and now we're going to see another one. The counter comes out, 261 damage. The jump R1 is going to find the anti-air, and that's going to turn Steel Dash away. And for the only time in our life we'll probably ever see this, we see that the skull emoji has died.
Are you proud of yourself?
I am. I was waiting to make that joke.
That was a pretty good one there, to be fair. But no, fair play to Braun. You know, the terror of Mag is now going to be the terror of Tourney spot, ladies and gentlemen, as he does take this set. I'd be curious as to whether or not, you know, Skull Emoji here is going to get a bit of hate mail after this one. That's going to be the really good question. We'll have to consult
the
players after the match.
If he won, it would be a guarantee.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. We may have to scope out some Steam profiles after the match. Just the further he gets, the more chance we have of seeing some. We'll see the daisy chain across the board. But a really solid match, and again, it just goes to show, you know, there's some issues with absorption compared to damage levels in this game. However.
Oh man.
We're armor kids. That's exactly what you need to do, because otherwise you're gonna get two-shot by a jump L1.
1460, and yeah, that's just definitely tragic. And definitely wear protection, but you do see him trying to find this any little bit of damage that he can try to find is just completely mitigated by the fact that Braun just has to hit him twice. Like that's the matchup, right? And you see he hits him twice with a vortex, and that's 1200 health just gone. It only has 600 left with here, and again, it's just gonna be one crouch out, one to kill him, and it's unfortunate. Very fun cosplay, very cool, definitely in the spirit of the event. And I don't think we saw Madness proc in this set either.
No, there was no Madness proc, but again, he was so lucky he didn't get put away there when he was stuck at the corner. Like that could have gone very badly, but he didn't get any pressure off of it. He tried to go for that running R1. It was a good effort, but just not quite able to land it, and that's and takes 300 damage again for his troubles. Like his Madness bar must have been pretty full yet again right before he was put away. But it's a rough one, LB. It's a rough one, but you know what? He's definitely a contender there. We've 3 contenders so far, LB.
There's been some good ones, and honestly, Bronze is actually pretty good as well. I like the little like the skull with the no shirt and the cape. I think it actually ties together really well. But yeah, it's very, very interesting to say the least. And that's that crouch R1 really good utilization.
Beautiful put away.
Anti-air is going to come through. It just again shows a lot there. So really good clean play there. And I think that concludes our round 1.
Yep, this is an unfortunate state of affairs there, and that's round 1. Yeah, by the looks of things. Really good stuff. Very impressive here from all the players across the board here, as unfortunately Melee was not able to make it, and neither was Artura, and we see what looks to be a very exciting round 2, LB. A very exciting one.
There's a lot of big matches in this. You're going to have Siri and Space. Again, 2 players that should be a fun one to watch. They both understand bolus pressure so well. Bevan, Deadfish. Bevan just so aggressive on those tree spears. Deadfish knows how to use them as well. Frosty, Yuzu, the battle of the quadrants going to be there. It's going to be the red quadrant versus the green quadrant. Should be a lot of fun to watch that one. And of course, you know, I think we've already seen this one play out, which is Solosky and Braun. I'm sure numerous times. They both frequent mag quite a lot, but it should be very exciting to see how that one's going to play out.